Hi, welcome back to My Life of Plants. So Newman, it's about 8 degrees right now. It's night. It's time 7. It's about 7 o'clock or 7:15. I'm expected to get down to minus 1 degrees tonight. We had pretty low humidity. It was about 25%. And since that last rainfall, that was last week, we haven't had any rain. So these are pretty dry. You can hear it. So if you check online about Vanda falcatas, you probably find intermediate to warm grower. However, these conditions are nothing remotely like warm. In the winter, the only thing is that the humidity is low. It'll go back up at night. You can get up to about 80% sometimes, but it'll drop right down into the 20s with bright blue sunny days. I think today's high was 13 degrees Celsius, but once again in the sunshine it feels like 20 degrees. If you're standing in the sunshine, these plants are in plenty of sunshine. By the way, they get the sunshine coming from the south, and then as it moves around to the west. I'm not sure about this position for the summer. They might have to move down lower, which will be back down here. And they get some shade. I don't know if they can put up with the west sun. I don't know if I want to push them that far. Yes, so if you read up about them, it says warm to intermediate growers. But a lot of these are growing in national parks here in Japan, in this zone. And in this zone we can get down to minus 8 degrees Celsius. Very early hours of the morning, it's possible it can drop that far down, and it can even snow 2 to 3 periods where it might snow. These plants, I don't think, could handle below minus 10. Once you get down to minus 10, it should be very brief, and then the next day should be sunny again, because if that sun doesn't come out, they will die. But it's this process of bitter cold and then the sunshine and the low humidity during the day is what enables them to be able to put up with these conditions. But these are not normal conditions for any other Vanda. Any other Vanda would die in these conditions, except for the Vanda falcata, which is the only native cold growing Vanda that I actually know of. The other Vandas that we do have are native to Okinawa and those surrounding tropical islands. Alright, it's time to take these Brassavolas down. You can see that I got them, their wire rack is on a hook, so you can just take it down like this and then bring it to some warm water. It doesn't need any fertilizer so much, it just needs to, they get a little bit of a spray of water every now and then, and today they're just going to get a bit of a kind of a thorough watering. And do you see what I see? Oh gosh. I don't know if we can focus. There we are. Can you see that? It's a flower spike on Nodosa. This dry spell has triggered some flowering. But it does have a peculiar habit of dropping leaves. So I don't know what that's all about, but it did it last year. The hybrid here, this one didn't do it. This one is supposed to be little stars. But when the flowers come out, they don't look like little stars. They look like something else. So today is their watering day. You're going to get a little bit of a water with quite warm. It's about 38 degrees Celsius, or no, 40 degrees Celsius water. Nice to see a bud though, I didn't notice that before. There we go, you can see it right there. We'll bring it to the sink and we can actually have a closer look. You can see here that these leaves are starting to get quite wrinkled. There's another one that's about to fall off. But it's a healthy plant. It's taken it's about a year and a half ago that I mounted it on here. You can see these roots actually going in and around the cork. But it did take a long time to actually start doing any good after I moved it. Part of me kind of didn't want to do that. I was real reluctant, but also I knew that I wanted to keep this plant alive and not to die on me. And then that's when I decided to do this one. I bought this one about probably a year after, and this one is actually quickly grown onto the mount. See all those roots there. If I had done things differently, I would have. No, actually, I couldn't. This one was such a very tightly packed plant in its pot, and I kind of split it and I tried to spread it over this mount. Now can we get in there and have a look at this? This is exciting for me because this will be the first time it's ever flowered. So there's no mistake here that I can actually give them some water, quite a decent watering, and then let them dry right out, and then I'll just go back to spritzing. And this water is quite warm, but that's fine. So I'm not trying to make them grow or anything, I'm just mimicking what they have in their natural habitat. Every month or so during the cooler, drier season, not really a winter season, but the temperatures get lower, they do. These plants will get some kind of water like this, And then they'll go back to just getting little spritzes of water during the winter. So this is fine to do. And the thing is with hybrids is that you just never know what they want until you grow them and you figure them out, because they could go one way or the other with their requirements. They may look like a lot, but even here in the winter we do get at least one rainy day a month in the winter. And it's by no means tropical right now. It's very low temperatures. These plants wouldn't survive outside. But it's very dry. So there we have it. And if I do see another Brassavola nodosa, I will pick it up. But I may not have to. I mean, these plants will do fine. They'll just keep growing. We have a little friend here. Look. Come. Yep, it is what you think it is, but it's not. It's a garden variety. They do survive in the plants when you know it outside. These things don't come inside and live. These are just the garden sort. You gotta go out into the cold, buddy. It'll survive. They dig down into the roots of plants where its temperatures can stay around 20. Alright. Done. You can actually see that this little star's Brassiocattleya actually has roots that still have green tips, because they get it from the humidity in the room, or whatever humidity there is. Yeah, I had to put that little bug outside. That was a little garden variety of the cockroach family, but they do live in the garden. They're just little tiny things. Every now and then a woodlouse might come out. But I noticed that Brassavola nodosa, when it comes to the autumn and the temperature drops, it likes to have its watering reduced quite drastically, because it tends to go through a period where it'll drop off some older leaves, like this one here. This is a typical wrinkled up yellowing leaf that it'll drop off, and they did it last year. It will even drop off some of the newer growths, but I'm not going to panic. I'm glad I have a spot for these plants where they grow really well now. There's something that's shriveling up its bulbs, and that's the Bifrenaria tyrantina, and there's Harrisonii, which I don't have. I think this one is the largest of them. But you can see these roots are coming out, but that's what it typically does, and it does have a drier seasonal change where it dries up considerably. You check them out on Habitat, you can see the mosses that are growing around them have stopped growing and they've gone into dormancy, which is a sign. So there's two growths coming up. Whether one of them is a flower spike or not, I don't know. It's hard to tell because the inflorescence does come out of the bottom of the plant. And the plant will show signs of looking like it needs water by pushing out these new roots, but once again, a lot of these orchids that come from the seasonally dry areas, they do tend to push out a lot of their new roots during that period because they're getting ready for the next rains that come. So they're preparing themselves for a big burst of growth, and they tend to slow down the production of new roots during the height of the growing season. You won't see so many new roots coming out. The plant will just stop in using its energy. But during the cooler seasons, they push out more. And it may look like that you need to up the watering, but if I did that, I'll probably prevent the plant from flowering, which is what I wanted to do. So drying out is normal for it. You can see why they call it the banana orchid. And once again, this is one of the toughest orchids I've ever had. Even if I had no experience with orchids and I bought this, I probably wouldn't, and I was an underwaterer, yeah, I would be fine. It's too easy. With an easy plant to grow. So, I'm not going to water it. That's what I did last year, and it didn't flower, but it might be because it's a smaller plant. You can kind of get a little closer look inside this. Dendrobium thriciflorum. I've been trying to look along the stems here because I can see the telltale signs of where flowers are going to come out. It's starting to bulge on the apex of the, or just below the sheath of the leaf. On these newer growths, especially. For this one, we get a nice big fertilizer pellet in there to set it off growing. About this plant here, got a bit of a dead leaf there, take it off. This is another one that it's got to be dry. Previous owner had this dry all winter, she said, and out of all things, she couldn't get it to flower when I got it from her. This is Chrysotoxum. She couldn't get it to flower, so I thought, well, okay, it's outside, it's getting rain, it's got good light, hanging under the tree, can only be just the fertilizer, so that's what I did. I just added 3 of those big, huge animal dung pellets, and they broke down and fed the plant, and then it just exploded into flower. So that's what it was. That's all it needed, really. And it grows in the terracotta here and sphagnum moss. And if you have a look here, it's already ready to, it's gearing up for flowering. can see this one's got the big protrusions just underneath the bottom of the leaf and the pseudobulb. And that one too, you can see one right in, you can see a couple in there. Even on the older bulbs, which is something I really like about this. The older bulbs carry the beginnings of flowers, and so do the newer bulbs, like this one. This one's not so sulcate, it's smoother, but the older bulbs are sulcate. So you're best to check up about these things and not mistaking them for underwatering and thinking you're going to pump them up. They're naturally like that. Another orchid that's like that is Cattleya iricolor. Its older bulbs are sulcate and also flattened sulcate. So you could look at it and mistaken it for underwatering when it's not. If I check out the newest growths on this, they're as large as the previous, so everything is going well. I give it a little spritz of water on the surface of this, because in habitat they still get a little water, but not too much. And by the time maybe February, I might take it to the sink and give it I won't do that, because I could push it into bloom, and I don't want it to do that. I want it to bloom outside. It's much better when it flowers outside, because its inflorescence are pendulous, and they hang really low, and I don't think I got the space for it. I don't want to induce its flowering right yet. What else do we have? A little peek at this. Dendrobium jenkinsonii. It's the smallest of the two. There's another one that's almost identical to this, and it's not jenkinsonii. It's Dendrobium something or other, but this is the true miniature of them. And I'm hoping this little thing will flower at least one or two to show me how happy it is. And this one is harder to fertilize, so I gotta use the fertilizer in the water when I water it. Otherwise, I can put a little bag of that animal dung fertilizer just above it, so I can fertilize it whenever. I can do that. You can see the nice roots on this Cattleya. I was grabbing onto that mount. Progress is slow for it, but it's getting there. Every morning it gets a little water. This one is still trying to push out that new growth. Hopefully it'll flower from this new pseudo bulb that it produced, maybe not. It's definitely Walkeriana in this one, because it's got the spoon-shaped thick leaves and the shorter pseudo bulbs. So I might have a white flower. Okay, moving along. Another thing to look at, it's quite a spectacle, is how big these two buds are on the Rhyncholaleo Cattleya young con. They're getting big now, so it's going to burst into flower soon. once again, this has got pretty sulcate bulbs on it. See that? The newest bulb is not like that, and the newest growth is not like that. See that? And this one just had a spritz a few days ago, and the spritz just moistens the surface, and then the moisture will go down inside the pot, but it's not enough to completely soak the whole thing. Winter watering. This one got a watering. I did. I actually gave it a good watering. I took it and put it in a little bucket and watered it thoroughly. And this is the Cattleya, so they're the Gurianthe Beringiana. And once it's dried out, I'll just go back to spritzing it. It actually likes a watering every 2 or 3 weeks, and then in between, when it dries out, a spritz. But it's actually pushing out a lot of roots there. Up and down into the mix, so the timing was right. This one came into flower, or it was coming into bud. You could see the beginnings of little root tips coming out of the newest cane, and I went ahead and repotted it right then. And that's been about, I don't know, that was the beginning of October, and it was doing that, and that's when I decided to repot it. The leaves are looking really, really nice on this, and actually really firm too. Sucked up that water pretty quick. It's nice. This Epiphyllum humilum. This is my big one. I grew this from a plant that was dying years ago, and it has become quite a beautiful plant. And one thing it likes, this mini Cattleya, is it likes to dry out during the winter quite a lot, until the point that it's shriveling. Of course, these newer maturing canes are not. They're still very smooth, but that drying out period, where the water is reduced a lot, will produce a lot of buds, and it's still trying to look, it's still trying to push out new growth, new pseudobulbs. Alright, what else can I talk about? I've been giving this mini Vanda more water. Oh yeah, because it was dropping leaves all the time, so I just put it in the higher light and given it more water. It's not surprising that I'll have leaf drop and stuff like that, but it hasn't been too severe. Even a couple of keikis on it decided to abort, not grow anymore. And this one's been dropping leaves, as you know. There goes another one. Definitely going to move these Vandas to the position where the Grassovelas are in the garden. If it can survive, it will go there. The balcony is just a bit too much for it. This Papilo Nandi that I bought, that's hard to see because it's at the back here. You can see, glimpse it right there. Now that one is doing fine in here. It's kind of got the almost terete leaves. I was wondering if it would like life on the balcony or not. Still wondering about that. Or I should hang it with the Bassovilas. Yeah, I should. I might stress it out. It might be just too hot. It's only for these ones that just love that slice of desert in their life out there on the balcony, like this thing. It doesn't mind. This Laelia doesn't mind. Now check out how big these leaves are that it grew. Massive. They're like big ladles, soup spoons. Yeah. And these growths, like this one, 2, and we got one right here, 3. So one year I had it outside a little bit too long and the temperatures had dropped to 15 degrees and we had some real cold rain, and it did this kind of damage to one of these pseudo bulbs. That kind of made the plant not want to flower. But definitely this Laeliocattleya LC Wrigleyii Blue Lagoon. It has a HCC and an AOS award. So it's an awarded plant. It's got real sulcate bulbs. Check those out. There's really grooved pseudo bulbs. It's such a hardy, easy orchid. If you want something that's hardy and you know it's going to live and it won't die, then get one of these. Who thinks this Lundii will flower? Laelia Lundii or Cattleya Lundii? What is it? Which is it? There's nice new growth coming out. It's a much healthier plant than it used to be when it was on the hot balcony. There wasn't very much left of it at the time. So this is 1 year growing in a cooler, moister area. It has put out these nice bulbs that have enough energy in them to produce flowers, what I am hoping. I was glad to get this. This Maikai Mayumi. BC, Bassiocattleya. No? GC. GB. It's a GB. Garyanthi Beringiana and the Basovila nodosa cross. And the bonus with this is that it has fragrance. Lovely fragrance. And this is quite a small plant. It's a division and it was $12. $12 is such a great buy, and I often see this available quite a lot, which is because it's such a nice hardy orchid. So if you want something that's hardy and you have no worries about it getting disease or anything like that, then you can get one of these orchids. It'll be a good choice for you. This is that mini Cattleya. This one is a pure yellow flower. The whole thing is yellow, labellum, petals, sepals, everything. It's a beautiful, beautiful Cattleya with a lovely fragrance, and the size of the flower is quite large. And it doesn't flower in profusion, but when it does flower, it's quite a spectacle. And I'm going to give it a little more water today, just a little. It's been shriveling and it's been getting a little water here and there, but today I'm just going to give it just a bit. There you go. It's quite big, isn't it? It's quite a big plant. I mean, I could, once this comes out of the pot a little bit more, I will cut that little bit off and grow it in a new pot, but I will not remove it and try to repot it. In actual fact, once this starts to overhang the pot and I take a 3 or 4, I want to do a 4 bulb cutting to be on the safe side, then it'll spark the plant off to grow more at the back here, pretty sure. This is such a sick plant when I got it years ago, and I lost a lot of Cattleyas too, because I didn't know that you're like me, and when you push buttons on your cell phone, you push everything but the correct button. It's like, it's kind of annoying. Alright. It did take a little bit of the sheaths off some of these bulbs that have matured, already well matured. But if you're growing your Cattleyas in a real hot position where they're getting really hot temperatures and they're getting direct sun and stuff like that, the sheaths can benefit the Cattleya by protecting its pseudobulbs from getting burned by the sun. So just keep that in mind while you're just trying to peel all the sheaths off the pseudobulbs. These can actually protect them from sunburn, especially where this one hangs. This one hangs in a position where it gets quite a bit of high light, pretty high. It's almost on the borderline of being burnt, pretty close to it. If you can see here, this is well, actually that's the classic signs of a fungal attack, but it stopped short. It stopped short because it's a healthy plant, but it is just shy of being burnt. So some of these leaves are a little yellowish in places. So these bulbs are well and truly matured, and I took a little bit off. This stem will now have a little bit more exposure and it'll harden off, get a little stronger than last time. So this is a good time to do it. However, if I'm having any new bulbs growing like this, new canes I mean, and they start to get the sheath, I'm going to leave it on there because it's going to protect it from sunburn. And I'll only take it off when the cane is matured and well matured. And in the winter time, at some time, I'll take it off, whatever's left on here. But just keep that in mind. It does protect the plant. Okay, so it had its watering. It'll suck it up, help to grow these new growths here. Yeah, that's some kind of fungal attack, but these orchids don't get it from time to time. I can actually cut that off, and I will do that right now, just to be on the safe side. There was an outbreak of fungus on the balcony, and it was on my Kingianum, out of all things, Dendrobium Kingianum, and that it has recovered from it, and it is now in a complete different place. It was on the south side, which is sun up, almost sundown, sun blasting all day. Didn't like it, so now it's been moved to the west side, southwest. During the hottest time of the summer, it will get a little sunshine that will try to get through to it, but it has a big large aloe in a big huge pot that's growing in a suspended basket, or it's a basket that stops ants from getting into plants. It's like a ring basket, and it sits on the balcony there, and it sits up off the balcony, so it produces shade over it, so it won't get burnt. But it can move a little off to the side there, where it can get more shade, and the amount of airflow is tremendous. I mean, the air really blows through there, which is ideal for the Kingianum, and it's not going to get sun all day, so it's going to have shade, and that's ideal for that orchid. And it opens up more space for these Cattleyas, because they really need the space, and I need to be able to see all the way around them, so that'll be good. There'll be a few changes, like my Vandas that I had out there, they're definitely going to go to where the Brassavolas are. Anyway, I'm going to cut that leaf off. Even though it stopped spreading and there's no chance of it going anywhere else, I'm just going to do the right thing and just cut it off anyway. Alright, this is my Rhipsalis. And I'm going to have a look inside, see how it is. Need some water. It relies on a very low wattage fish tank light. That's all it gets, and some light from a window. And while I'm at it, give the pot a clean. Not exactly sure what kind of a Rhipsalis this is. I'll put it on the screen. Could be Bassifera. It's definitely one of the easiest of them to grow, for sure. There's lovely little white flowers that appear during the summer or possibly spring. And these are actually cut off my mother plant, and I did really long cuttings. The plant had gotten so long I just cut it all off, and I stuck it all into this pot, and it rooted all up pretty easily. But that would be, of course, difficult to do in the summer. This was spring. Springtime is the best to take cuttings of a Rhipsalis and root them up. During the summer it seems to be too hot and they just tend to rot rather than grow, so they need the cooler seasons to be able to do cuttings. And if you do have a warm air-conditioned room like here, You can even do cuttings in the winter. Okay, this is a Ischananthus, or the lipstick plant, and you can see that it's going to flower, and this sparked off an abundance of flower buds after pruning it. This will produce the red bracts, which are not the flowers, or the bracts that protect the flower from weather and conditions and biting bugs. So that very dark red is that. And you can see that the bud is here. The bud is the lighter color, and the bract will actually grow bigger and bigger and longer, and it'll look like a lipstick tube until the actual red flower pops out of the center. So it's easy to mistaken the bracts for the flower, because they look like flowers. Must attract pollinators with how bright it is. I don't know why I put the lid on that. Put the lid on it so I can't get it off. It appreciates a good watering. Yes, I do have cuttings of it, and I'm going to pot them up possibly tomorrow or the next week or so. Sits in a bright window. During midsummer it started to get a little burnt because it got too much, so I had to put a lace curtain on the window. And I'm looking forward to these flowers actually opening up. You can see that the leaves there, they're actually facing the window, so it's hard to appreciate them, but they do have a very, very subtle hair on the leaves. Very hard to see with your naked eye. This is a Rhynchostylus gigantea. It spends its whole life inside. It has put out these two leaves throughout the summertime. They're actually quite sticky. They have some extra nectary glands on them. And why do they produce all this sticky stuff? To attract ants. So we all know that ants play a big part in a healthy forest ecology. Sort of trying to push out a new leaf right here too, and it's in a small terracotta pot with sphagnum, where I can water it when it needs it. So it's got this big old fat root coming out. I just water it once a week. That's about it. And hanging close to the window, the humidity is just right for it. Give it a good drink. I'm not sure how I can support its size as it gets bigger and bigger. But it is hanging on an angle like this in the window. So it's not upright like that, it's actually hanging. So this plant must attract ants too. And having ants can actually protect the plant a great deal. This is a genus of orchid, Sarcochilus, native to Australia. It goes in gullies. This one is Sarcochilus it doesn't have a name on it, so So I don't know what flower it's going to have, but some of them can be lithophytic, growing on rocks, boulders and cliff faces, and it usually grows in gullies where the humidity is quite high. They do appreciate water and dry cycle, so not soaking wet all the time, but they like some water and then to dry off again. This one's going in sphagnum. I haven't repotted it at all. It has put out 2 growths here that are growing far better than they were previously. I had it on the balcony for 1 year. So it struggled away there, but it didn't die, so it's pretty tough. And it's pendulous, so it likes to hang. It has flowers that are kind of reminiscent of a Oncidium, a mix between an Oncidium and a pansy. They're quite pansy-like, the flowers, but they're not fragrant. But there are fragrant ones in this family, found in the tropics up into Papua New Guinea. This one has nice fat roots growing on it. It's monopodial, and once again it does branch out a lot at the base, so you can have a nice full clump of it. And it's one of the fastest orchids to be grown from seed into a flowering plant. So this one's pretty healthy now. Pretty healthy. It's been spending life indoors, so it doesn't go outdoors anymore. And the air conditioner takes care of the excess heat during the summer. So I don't think this plant likes to go over 28 degrees Celsius is kind of its maximum. Once you get to the 30s, you should be looking for a cooler, moister, shadier place. If you have high summer heat like we do, we get here, you should be looking for a place that is much more humid, moister. And you can find those places usually in your garden where you get a lot of ferns growing and mosses. You want to hang them up and around there. So we've got a nice old stone wall at the back of the house in a narrow part of the garden where it is shaded, and it'll get like dappled sun here and there from the morning and maybe a little in the evening. That would be the kind of place where it would like to grow if I did choose a place. I would like to have them there. Got the old stone wall. And once again, if I did grow it there, I would have it pendulous. I'd have it hanging like that in its growing pot. And the reason for that is just to keep the water out of the crown. This one doesn't really like water in its crown whatsoever. It likes the water to run off its leaves. It doesn't like it to hang around on the leaves too long because it can cause a little bit of rotting. But I do notice that this plant is pretty strong and it's able to overcome fungal spores that are blowing around in the humidity. It's able to fight them off. So there we have it. Psychocylus. If you don't have one, I recommend growing these because they're beautiful. They're really beautiful orchids, especially when there's clumps and you have a nice display of pansy-like flowers all over it. I've been busy hybridizing in Australia, so that if you're lucky enough, you may get ones with reds, yellows, deep pink, light pinks, whites too, and I was lucky to get one, really. happy that it's actually growing much better these days. The stem here is actually getting some nice foliage, and I've got these offsets growing. I've got another little one here. How many times do we see this? Not very often, but this is the plant I was talking about, the Rhipsalis bassifera. It has a growth pattern of sending out long stems like this, which it'll branch out from. Also, it'll branch out from the inside of the crown of the plant, and it likes to have some moisture. Consistent moisture is actually what it likes most of all. This yellowing here is just the stress from the summer, last summer, wherever it is in the air-conditioned room, which gives it a break from the heat because we're able to turn on the air conditioner, keep the temperature at about 25 degrees. Once it gets closer to 30, the plant starts getting in trouble, and it'll show it by dropping leaves. Two reasons why these drop a lot of leaves. Number one is it's drying out too much. Number two, the temperature is going over 30 degrees Celsius. Those are the two times that I notice it drops leaves. Every other time it doesn't. Even with higher humidity or lower, it won't trigger it to drop leaves. It's those two things, drying out and high heat. So in the other rooms in this house can get up to 35 degrees, and that extra 5 degrees makes these plants miserable. Yes, and it did get that haircut. That's what the other plant you saw of. You saw that other plant, there was actually the cuttings off this grown into a new plant, and you can see here that it's starting to stem out again, these little pink shoots here. There's lovely white flowers, as I said before. They have some fragrance, I think, as I can remember. Native to Brazil in moist Atlantic forests on the east side of Brazil. But you can see those lovely cloud covered mountains with that moisture that comes in every night, and there's plenty of mosses and ferns growing as epiphytes too, along with this plant, and orchids. I was just taking down this Rhipsalis mesembrymanthoides, and you can see that it has some new growth coming. And here, it's in a window with maximum sunlight coming through. This is apparently not very widely distributed in Brazil. It's found in a national park, growing there. It was discovered there. So it's kind of a Rhipsalis that is just by chance turned into this variety or species, or recognized as a species, or it could be just a variant of others. It's pretty neat, interesting Rhipsalis. I like this one a lot. And this one is kept moist. It's growing in cocoa coir. Cocoa coir that's been broken into soil grade. So it's kind of similar to what it would grow in, I would think. It's got a nice healthy root system there. I'm just going to drain out the excess water now after it's watering. You can see how bright this window is here. This is where it hangs. And the sun comes straight in here. Mainly during the morning. And it has this screening which blocks out some of the sun, but it does get direct sun. And once again, a Rhipsalis that loses foliage, there's two reasons. It's too hot, far too hot for it, or the other reason why it drops leaves is it's drying out. They like to be just slightly moist, and to maintain that, I think cocoa coir, or mixed in with some cocoa peat, would be your best bet. I notice when they're in cocoa peat, they don't dry out quickly, so the plant is able to stay moist enough. If you grow it in a chunky mix, you better have some. You better have it in semi-hydro then with a wicker, so it's able to wick up the water. Definitely, that's a must if you want to grow your Rhipsalis well. So you can buy those self-watering pots, and usually they have a little window in the bottom where you can see the water level. And it comes with a wicker, so when you repot into it, you make sure that the wicker is right up above the soil, and you got to hold it there where you're putting in the mix, and then the water will be drawn up from the wicker right up through the soil. But you've got to make sure you have your wicker all the way up to the top as you're repotting, because if you have your wicker all rolled around down the bottom of the pot, it won't wick up very well. But it does work really well, and I'm going to do that. Next time I repot my Rhipsalis, I'm going to put them into semi-hydro. They will be growing in peat moss or cocoa coir, and they will have the wicker, because when they dry out, they drop foliage. This is my Rhipsalis that I had in the bedroom, and it had lost a lot of leaves off it. Cladodes, I guess you could call them, although they're quite terete or cylindrical. There's bristle-like hairs on it. And this one had lost a good half of its growth. It would keep dropping off, and that was the heat factor. Got up to 35 degrees, didn't like it one bit. You can see that lovely new growth, which is the lighter green. You can see it. And now this is kept moist, and it's in the living room, where the air conditioner can be turned on and the temperature can be kept down around 25 degrees Celsius, which is ideal for them. And the other thing is that the heat was the factor. That's what was making it defoliate, dropping all of its foliage. I thought it was going to die at one point. It was getting pretty close to it, because it just had a few branches left, and the few branches that fell off, I planted them back into the mix, that you can see right here. And those are starting to root up. But only in this much cooler weather. So in that room, gets down to about 15 degrees Celsius during the night, and during the daytime about 25. And it loves to be moist. When I first bought this plant, it was growing in peat moss, out of all things. And you know, peat moss is very moisture retentive. But this plant enjoyed it and loved it, and it was doing very well. It was growing very, very well. And until the time I took it out and put it in a free draining mix, that's when it started to decline. The heat got to it. Once this plant gets bigger and fills out this pot, it's going into a self-watering pot with a wicker. And then that'll do absolutely terrific. But for now, I'm going to keep it in the living room. So I'm quite happy that it is doing much better now, and it's going to grow, because I really like Rhipsalis a lot.